Thanks for having me. Good afternoon.
Yeah, so we just watched the governor commissioning some road infrastructural projects in some parts of the state, but the state government also has mass vaccination agenda against COVID-19. Can you tell us more about the rollout plans?
Well, we thank God that we are one of those states privileged to have received some dosage of the vaccines, about a little over 85,000 in the first batch came into the states. And we are also following the different guidelines while well outlined by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. At the moment, we've been able to commence the vaccination of first responders, particularly those in the medical personnel. We're also taking steps to take care of strategic leaders as well as some other persons who are playing certain role, particularly security. We are very, very optimistic that as we also make progress, we will continue to take care of other persons in the vulnerable group, particularly the elderly, and then women. And so we have rolled out we started with the governor being vaccinated, but having done that, a number of other persons have also received a jab of the vaccine, hoping that in a few weeks from now, we'll also take the second dose. I have also had mine. And for us to be able to reach out to the 25 local government areas of the state, we are taking advantage of very functional general hospitals across the 25 local government areas. Of course, we have them more than one in the number of the local governments. We are also taking advantage of our tertiary institutions, two in Asaba here, one in Ogara, another one also in Warri. We believe that through these different facilities, we'll be able to bring the vaccine closer to our people. At the same time, we're also trying to, as much as possible, to sensitize our people with a view to allaying their fears as expressed in different quarters. And so we are quite optimistic that as we make progress and hoping that we also receive a further supply of the vaccines, would have been able to vaccinate at least 70% of our people as we make progress.
Well, you're a survivor of COVID-19, and now the vaccines are available. I believe you must have taken the jab up. What is your ministry doing to create awareness on COVID-19 vaccination in the state?
Well, we started by, first of all, encouraging the strategic leaders to ensure that the one they took was done in the public. The governor, his wife, and then the SSG, the chief of staff, the chairman of the party, and a host of other leaders had to take it before the very visible eyes of the camera. Why did we do that? It's not because these strategic leaders are much more important than any other, their life is much more important than that of any other Delta. But we believe that our people have a way of also responding when they see their leaders carry out certain actions by way of leading by example. And so we took it, and for me, there was no single reaction. And that was done since last week. There was no reaction. A number of other persons did mention that they had just a very mild reaction, either by a little temperature, one pain or the other. And then after about 72 hours, it also weared out. So they started, they continued with their normal activity. But for us, most of us who took it in the government house, the first rollout in the state, we didn't have any challenge. We continue with our job and then responsibilities. The governor has been up and doing since that time. Like you mentioned a while ago, a number of projects are being commissioned. And so we are continuing with our enlightenment campaign, letting our people know that it's important that we embrace this vaccine, because once we do that, we would have been able to lead the whole country to that level where we can begin to talk about herd immunity, and in which case the number of persons would have been immune to the dangerous effects of the virus. And when that happens, a number of the restrictions that are in place at the moment would, of course, be eased out, and you begin to see that business will return much more faster. We do encourage every other person, both in the state and outside the state, to ensure that they take advantage of these vaccines that are being made available. We hope that as we make progress, more number of supplies will be made available to the people, so that those who would want to be vaccinated have access to it, even as we continue to encourage everybody to make themselves available to be vaccinated.
Okay, so what are the strategies the Delta State government is putting in place to ensure all citizens are actually vaccinated?
Well, I did mention a while ago that we are taking advantage of different health facilities, particularly secondary health facilities and the tertiary health facilities. This is the first instance of the rollout. We are using general hospitals across the 25 local government areas. We're also taking advantage of the tertiary hospitals. We are hoping that it brings it closer to the people. But beyond that, we also have certain facilities at the ward level. But don't forget that what was brought in this first instance cannot go far because of the number. But even at that, we're ensuring that the little number we have is not just left there in the store, that is available for the people to access it. And that is going on. Just today, a number of persons have been vaccinated, security personnel. Tomorrow, we're hoping that those in the military will also join. The police have joined. In one of our center in Owara, they had a lot of activities today. A number of persons turned out to be vaccinated. And as we make progress, while we wait for the federal government to also send in more supplies, we will continue to take advantage of different media of mass communication in the state, and of course the social media platform to reach out to our people. What has been the issue is not even that of the knowledge of the vaccine. The knowledge of the vaccine is, of course, is out there in the public. But of course, you hear some of the other information that are conflicting, which individuals have not been able to manage. But we can assure them that we still have very much confidence in the World Health Organization. They have given us assurances. For those who are also listening keenly to the reports about what's happening in some countries in Europe, we are very much convinced, just like the United World Health Organization did say, that it's just a batch of the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. And so if it's just a batch, it's just like when a vehicle is being eroded by an auto company, and it happens that a particular batch has some error. What they usually do is just to recall. Good enough, the batch we have here in Nigeria, given the number that was also made known to the public, is not that bad that is reported to not to have given the required result. But even at that, it has also been said that just a few persons have that reaction, and it's nothing to worry about. For those of us that took it here, we're good.
All right, Mr. Charles Inyago, Commissioner for Information, Delta State. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.